such complex and worsening and having really fatal disease, still, why is it that they cannot get into treatment, right? So, because if you think about the nature of the addictive disease, it's a disease which worsens with time. If you know someone who's addicted, or if you ever seen someone who's addicted, or if you're an addicted person yourself, you must know that with addiction you face a lot of problems: social problems, occupational problems, personal problems, religious problems, familial problems. You face a lot of these problems, right? And these problems, they turn into crises, different types of crises. And with the progression of the disease, the intensity and frequency of these crises increase. So when you're addicted and when you're under this disease, you're facing a lot of problems, but you're still not going into treatment. The addict is still not going into treatment. Clients, they often, the clients and the families, they often ask why and how. Why are they not going into treatment despite so much, negative consequences of the disease? And what we say that there are three principal reasons behind that. The first reason is the use of defenses, excessive defenses by the addicted person. There are a lot of type of defenses, but the four most used defenses in addiction an addicted person uses are: the first one is denial. Denial is a process, it is a defense that is used by an addict when they don't accept any information, even in the presence of compelling evidence. They won't accept anyone's or any point of view, even in the face of compelling evidence. That's called denial. For example, let's take an example. If someone's sick, let's take an easier example. For example, if someone didn't go to work because they overdosed on drugs, they woke up like 12 and they had to go to work at 8. They would say, oh, I was sick, I wasn't feeling well, oh, I had to do something, I had to go somewhere. They could make that type of excuse, So they're in denial. They're denying although they know why they didn't go. The second characteristic of this disease is that, the second defense is rationalization. Rationalization is a defense in which an addicted person blames his or her addiction on on a reason. They make up, rationalizing is actually making up excuses, making up reasons for something. So how do addicted people use this? They would say, oh, I'm using drugs because I can't sleep without drugs, or I feel sick, or I have a stomach ache, so that's why if I take the drugs I feel better. The third defense they use is minimization. They always minimize the negative effects, outcomes of addiction. For example, they go sick, and it's like, no, I didn't get sick, I only felt tired, I laid down for a bit. Or for example, if they lost a lot of money because they were spending too much on alcohol, they would say, no, I didn't spend too much, I only spent a couple of bucks. They minimize all the consequences and bad things that happen to them due to addiction. And the fourth is externalization. Externalization is a defense in which the addict or addicted person blames his addiction on outside forces or things, or different scenarios. For example, I was having a bad day, so I thought I'd take a drink, or I'm depressed, that's why I'm doing drugs, or I feel lonely, that's why I'm doing drugs. So these are defenses that the addict uses in order to avoid treatment. The second principal reason is stigma. Our society, it's not our society particularly, every culture is different, and in some cultures drinking and drugs are common, and in some are not. But where they're common, I think that in every part of the world, in the modern world, drugs and alcohol are a very common thing, and it's the stigma of the society. It's the peer pressure which often drives us to drugs and alcohol, and we start taking them. It may be fashionable to drink or to take drugs, but it's still not fashionable to go into rehab. The thing is that there's a stigma attached to getting treatment, to accepting that you're addicted, because addicted people, they often ask themselves the question, why me? Why am I addicted? Everyone else is doing it. And they also ask themselves the question is that why they They also ask themselves the question that why do I have to go into treatment? Why are others not going? Because it's embarrassing, and it's embarrassing to the addict, and it's in some places it can even be shameful to accept that they're addicted and to go into treatment. So there's a very big stigma attached to that. That's why often a lot of addicted people and so people going through addiction or facing addiction, they don't go into treatment. The third reason is that addicted people affected by addiction, they avoid the consequences of their addiction a lot. For example, a person may drink throughout the night. He has to go to work in the morning, and he's taking drugs and maybe doing alcohol throughout the night. Now he's mentally not stable to go to the work in the morning, but he does through a lot of personal effort. So he's avoiding the consequences of the problems that are caused by addiction. So that's why we say there are three principal reasons or ways in which addicts they avoid treatment. The first is defenses, the second is stigma, and the third is avoiding the consequences. Thank you. This is the end of part 1. If you want to watch more videos, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.